this is certainly a fortuitous situation. Uh, this is 40 for 40, which I've been doing. Turned 40 this year, and I've been sharing 40 of my favorite films of all time with you. And lo and behold, Disney wants to re-release one of them into theaters. So this is Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. This is actually also celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, which is also another great reason to watch it. So I'm turning 40, this is turning 20. Now you know how old I was when this movie came out in theaters. Yeah, it's a great time to be talking about Pirates of the Caribbean. This film is actually still available on Disney Plus, at least as of the time I'm recording this. Even though it's a theatrical release, they pulled Avatar when they re-released it. I wonder if they will pull Pirates. I watched it on Disney Plus right before it's supposed to come out on the 7th. I watched it right before that, so maybe I got it right before the pull. I don't know. You guys may have to go to theaters to see this. And there's been a little bit of talk about whether or not the film will have audio description in its re-release because it's currently not advertised as having it. So, if you go to the theaters, you may find yourself upset. However, I would just say wait till it comes back on Disney Plus because the audio description is fantastic. If it leaves Disney Plus, wait, because the audio description is amazing. This audio description is like 10 out of 10, 5 stars. It's fantastic. Everything that I remembered about Pirates of the Caribbean was coming back to me. It just brought all of the imagery back. There's so many things that are complicated about this audio description, and it does it so well. There are so many times in this film where the crew is moving in and out of the light, and they're changing from from skin to skeleton, and the narration on that is done so well to let you know that's what's happening. And it tries really well, really hard to describe all of these nameless pirates in ways that you feel like you know who they are because they have a very specific description that's been given to them. The one with the missing eye, the one with dreadlocks, the bald one, it just keeps giving them really specific, similar descriptions every single time. So that way you feel like, okay, it's that pirate. Okay, it's this pirate. Oh, it's that pirate. Even though a lot of these pirates don't necessarily have names. So, there's so much to appreciate here with this audio description. I thought it was fantastic. There's the action. There's a lot of stuff mentioning about the color of things. There's the dress that Elizabeth has to wear. This is definitely specified as being purple. And then when she takes it off, she's left in an all white. I can think of so many times where things like that happened. There's the sword fight when he pulls a red hot sword out. The audio description, fantastic. Just absolutely. That's why I'm starting off the top because it's that good. I haven't even told you about the film yet. I haven't even gotten into the film. I just had to talk about the audio description. I'm a blind film critic. That's why I'm here, is to get people talking about audio descriptions so that we can get on more movies, so that more people like me can see more movies with audio description and not be totally lost when there's no audio description. So, yes, Curse of the Black Pearl is one of my favorite films of all time. As a kid, I had the opportunity, of course, going to Disney World and going on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It was, I don't know, I'm not going to say it was my favorite ride. I'm not a shill for Disney. Several Disney films have appeared on my 40 for 40 list, but I like Disney. So I'm sorry, but I'm not paid for by Disney. It's not my favorite ride at Disney. As a kid, it's kind of daunting when you're a little kid. You're like, wait a minute, it's a dark ride. This is kind of creepy. This is a bit much. So you grow into the Pirates of the Caribbean. And when you're a little kid, the fun, colorful rides are really interesting to you. The bright ones, not necessarily the dark one with the scary pirates. So, I was familiar with the ride. And when this came out in theaters, The funny thing was, hadn't watched a lot of pirate movies. I saw Cutthroat Island in theaters. I was one of the few people that saw Cutthroat Island in theaters during its original theatrical run. I supported it. I tried, guys. I tried to save that studio. And I actually kind of didn't hate Cutthroat Island, and I've seen it since then. I own it on DVD, and I didn't hate it. I don't think it's the worst film ever made. There are definitely worse films. It's not great. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say it's a great film, but it's got has moments. Yeah, but Pirates is a film that went out on a limb and decided to reignite the pirate genre and breathe that back to life. And they did so with Gore Verbinski, who's better known for being the director of The Ring. This is a guy that basically shot for shot remade The Ring and benefited from the box office success of him being able to mimic what somebody else did. Yeah, I'm throwing shade at Gore Verbinski. You got a problem with that? Watch Ringu and then watch The Ring. Back to back, and you will see so many shots that he just stole from the original film. Yeah, it's really weird. But here, he got his opportunity to expand a little bit and do something a little different. And this is really, this is the kind of Gore Verbinski that should have shown in more films. He's kind of been a hit or miss director for me since this moment, but he did a bang up job here. I mean, this film flows perfectly. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It just flies. It never overstays its welcome. It feels like a 2 hour and 20 minute movie, but it also doesn't feel like a film that you would necessarily cut anything from. Because it's building a story, it's building a world, it's introducing you to these characters and this backstory and this legend, and it's got all of this thrown in there. It has a lot that it accomplishes in 2 hours and 20 minutes without feeling underdeveloped, without failing to explain certain things to you, and making you feel like you are on a ride, just like you would be if you were at Disney World. Obviously, Johnny Depp does a fantastic job as Jack Sparrow. We don't really need to talk about that. Some people throw him shade and say he was just copying Keith Richards. Cool. I mean, a lot of actors draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of people. If that's your problem, then nobody would ever be able to win an award for a biopic when they're mimicking somebody else. So, I don't know. Maybe he copied Keith Richards. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it's a mixture of that and just being himself. Who knows? It is what it is. But it's a great performance either way. It's an iconic performance. It's a performance that I remember even playing as Jack Sparrow in Disney Infinity. Yes, I owned Disney Infinity when I could see. Played that and put his little icon character on the little tray and loaded him into the Pirates of the Caribbean room. And the other actors in this film do a really good job too. It's a great start for Jack Davenport's career. I don't think enough people talk about that, but he does go on to do other things. Later on, he was in Smash, which was is one of my favorite TV shows. At least the first season, I think, is like a perfect first season of a show. Keira Knightley, obviously, she's spoken out a lot about the struggle that she had with her weight, and this is something that didn't really help at the time. She was really sort of thin and battling, Hollywood's idea of what size she should be. It's kind of crazy to think that they should just let girls be. And she does a really good job here as Elizabeth Swann. She hadn't really been in much, but she had already kind of had her breakout performance in Bend It Like Beckham. So she was starting to be offered things. So she had several projects that were on the way. She was on the rise. And she's still out there working today. She was in a film earlier this year called Boston Strangler. She was really good in that. So she is still working. Orlando Bloom, a little less so. His career has not been great. He kind of got trapped in Carnival Row, which took forever to get that second season out. Then they canceled it. Like, it only has 2 seasons. And it took forever for them to make that second season, partially due to the pandemic, but I don't know. Partially due to, I don't think Amazon cared. They were just committed and they put it out. So, but hopefully we'll see more from Bloom, who was perfectly positioned to become an A-lister. I mean, talk about somebody we were trying to put in the A-list. This dude had the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Pirates of the Caribbean, and then they started trying to put him into things like Troy, which was supposed to be a massive hit and help further his career. Kingdom of Heaven was another big budget film. Yeah, we tried. Orlando Bloom had every opportunity to be the next Tom Cruise, and he's one of those actors that just it didn't. He hangs out a lot with Taylor Kitsch. I'm assuming. Let's just say that. Yeah. So that's the cast, but they're all good here, and of course, I don't know what to do about. I don't know how much to praise our final captain, Jeffrey Rush, in this role. I don't know why he hasn't acted in 4 years. I don't know if he got canceled or not. I'm walking with trepidation on complimenting Jeffrey Rush right now. I will say I think he was good in this role and move on. The internet has not definitively answered that question for me. What happened to Jeffrey Rush? Yes. So, those are the Pirates of the Caribbean leads. The score is amazing. It's iconic. You hear it and you know it's the pirate score. It is one of those scores. It has a very iconic theme, like Jurassic Park, like Star Wars, like Indiana Jones. There's a section of this score that when you hear it, you know it's pirates. There's no question in your mind that it is from this film. It was a huge box office success. I remember working in movie theaters when this came out, and it stayed in theaters like for a couple months. We only had 12 screens, and this thing played until like November. I think we pulled it in November, finally. It was in the theater for like 4 months, which was a little unheard of at the time. But usually for a 12 screen theater, usually we move things out. There's a lot of product coming in and out, but there was always a screen for pirates. So yeah. Anyway, I love the film. I've seen it a couple times, and of course it made 40 for 40. And it's also being re-released by Disney as part of their 100 Years of Disney. There are 8 films that are being released. I totally disagree with the list as a whole. This is one of those ones where I get why they're doing it. It's also 20 Years of Pirates. It was a big film for them. It launched a franchise. I don't like the fact that the oldest film on the list is Beauty and the Beast. There's nothing before that, and yet it's 100 years of Disney. They better be running Steamboat Willie in front of all these fucking movies. That's all I can say, because you can't have 100 years of Disney and only celebrate like the last 30. It's just weird. We've been around for 100 years, but we only want to talk about the last 30. Yeah, there's no Snow White re-release or Cinderella or Mary Poppins or anything like that. There's just Beauty and the Beast all the way up through Moana. We were really trying to push Moana. They got that live action remake coming, and Moana it hasn't even been 10 years. Like, Moana and Frozen are being re-released. Why? Why? Anyway, and Coco. Coco's getting Is Coco, when you think of top 8, do you think of Coco? I didn't think. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to give Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of Black Pearl an A+. It's a classic film, I think. This is one where I'm going to say, for me, the sequels dropped precipitously after this. I don't think they captured managed to recreate Lightning in a Bottle for the successive sequels. I'm not going to say they're bad, but I'm going to say there's an obvious drop, which happens with most franchises. With most franchises, when you have the first film, it's really hard to recreate that. I could say that about Jurassic Park. I don't think the sequels that followed Jurassic Park were that good, were as good as the original. I could say that about The Matrix. I could say that about Transformers. I think like a lot of times the first thing out of the gate, they put a lot of effort to, and the script is good, and the cast is good, and the sequels are like, well, shit. What do we do now? Well, we need to make sequels. So, anyway, it doesn't always work out. You can't always be a Toy Story 2. You can't always. Imagine if everything was Toy Story 2, it wouldn't be so shocking when we have a great sequel. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I have a website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org, that's the ADNA.org, and you can look up the narrators. I'm hesitant to cite narrators in case for some reason they do a new track for the theatrical re-release. I don't think they will, but in case they do. I'm watching the one that was currently on Disney Plus. Who knows? I think it's fine. I don't think it needs to be re-recorded at all. I would leave it alone and just re-release it with the track that it has. But I don't know what you'll be listening to. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will review something else and see you guys on the other side.